Everyone, once again, say hi, YouTube. Opened my phone today to Twitter about an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago, to see this post from Cody, formerly known as IBDW. And for those of you who are only Ultimate focused, or just not even Smash focused, or just tuning into my stream for what it is, I need me to fill you in. Cody Schwab is in contention for being the current best player for Melee in the world right now. It's a very close race, I feel, between J-Mook and Cody, with Zane right there in the mix with Amsa too. To some standards, you could argue that Cody could do it by the end of the year. The main issue with this is that for all the work he's put in and for everything he's been through, Cody Schwab remains sponsorless. He remains without a team. And, you know, sometimes things happen to me that are inconvenient, and I'm like, damn, I have the worst luck. But then, sometimes I take it for granted, because I see someone like Cody, who truly has had bad luck. Truly so many things beyond his control happening to him. And it really should be stated. It really should be stated how hard this guy works. I mean, his original title was IB doing work, right? But, you know, many times on his stream and on his socials, he's discussed the various, he's discussed the various facets of why his personal life is tough, family situation, a lot of things like that, you know. I think he won Summit right after the death of a parent. There's a lot of stuff, and he himself by himself had to take care of. So the one thing he does is he plays Melee really well. He streams, makes content too, but there comes a point where you need to really start to consider to yourself what matters to the most, right? So this is what he said regarding that. Important Melee decision after the dust from the past few years has settled. We'll always appreciate and love you all, no matter what happens, right? So he said, I've genuinely loved my time in Melee, and it's forced me to grow both as a competitor and person in ways I could never imagine. Having said that, I'm not a kid anymore. I'll be turning 29 in January. After 8 years of playing this game, I don't feel I've been able to position myself to start and take care of a family in a manner that I find fulfilling and safe. Part of that is undoubtedly my fault, as I traverse myriads of mental health issues through competition and often let it leak into my socials, but part of it was also undoubtedly just plain bad luck. Hembeed, IDK, this is kind of weird. What's weird? What about this is weird? This is real life. Hush, shush. I would love to keep playing Melee for the foreseeable future, and I will do my best to make that a dream a continued reality. At some point, however, I can't keep bashing my head into the wall and praying for a different outcome. Esports is inherently volatile, and it's showing with the amount of turnover there is in virtually every game. I haven't been able to gain my footing, which is what I think about, so I've made a decision that if I don't feel by Genesis, I've turned this into something that can propel me into whatever my next phase of life may. I'm going to hard cut off Melee and retire. So, first two paragraphs, Cody Schwab, like I said, interim and potential best player in the world, announcing a premature retirement if things don't work out, if things don't begin to pan out for him in Melee, which I'll share my thoughts with, obviously, in a second. Well, let me finish going through this so we can get the full picture. What this entails isn't cut and dry. A team seems like the most likely avenue, but if I somehow become a genuinely exceptional content creator that can sustain a large stream for Melee while traveling, or somehow a business venture takes off, I'll absolutely keep competing as well. I'm sharing this early because I remember how it felt as a spectator for someone to vanish as a competitor, and I feel I owe it to those who support me and those I compete with to be transparent about where I'm at, since this is the first time I've genuinely committed to a timeline since Summit 8. And for what he's referring to most likely is the Armada retirements, the first and the second retirement, which caught many people off guard, but ultimately was his decision to make in terms of his own happiness. And the other similarity is that Armada quit when he was at the top or quite near it. He retired when he was ranked 3 when he retired, but he just won he just won SmashCon 2018. God, it was so long ago. I think it was 2018 or 2019. And then Cody Schwab, fresh off a win at Battle of BC. So there's some similarities there. Work ethic, I think, is the most similar thing that I'd put between Armada and Cody. But it comes at a price, right? I will, of course, do my best to make this work, and to those who feel I should find another job, I hate to say it, but that's not how it works at top level anymore. Competing to be number one is an exhausting mental endeavor, that requires my focus 7 days a week. I don't have the energy to take on another job while maintaining my results, and I love Melee too much to half-ass it. Yeah, I have to like collect my thoughts because I have my own angle for this, but it's important what he's saying. I like to clarify this is 100% on me to accomplish. I don't want anyone to feel obligated to support or watch out of the pity or anything of my ability as a player or streamer. It's on me to create the value for an organization. To be willing to take a risk on, not on any of you to buoy, I think, because I haven't done the job that I needed to. If you do know anyone who's in an org or reading as part of an org, I'd like to ask for a chance to be able to talk. A lot of people are hesitant to commit to Melee for a variety of reasons, but the fact remains that Melee has endured for 21 years. Wrong, Cody Schwab. 22 years, actually. 22 years. And will almost certainly not be going anywhere anytime soon. I'm more than happy to quell any concerns regarding the state of the scene. Nothing is imminent, of course. This is my way of letting you all know that the worst-case scenario for me is I'm hopeful I'll find a good fit somewhere, but even if not, you mean the world to me. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. Even to those who watched to root against me, thank you. Damn. You all make us able to do this for a living, and hopefully I'll be able to keep it going for a while. Deep words there. It is true, because when I was at the top, even though I had so much shit talk against me, it meant that viewership was good. I get it. I completely get it. I couldn't imagine having to go to as many tournaments as I did, doing that, like especially in 2016, 17, 18, doing that out of pocket. I could never imagine that. Not only that, but to do it in a game where prize pots are the way they are, it's very, very hard, I will tell you something right now. I'll tell you all something right now. I think if content for me never took off during the pandemic the way it did, I was still at the same level. So in other words, I'm maybe a smaller content creator, but I'm also competing in Melee still, but like getting top 8's not really winning. I would have definitely put Melee and just competition in general on the back burner already. I would have definitely gone into another career, just knowing myself and knowing what made me feel fulfilled and knowing what made me feel like I was actually making a change, making a difference. I would have definitely gone there by now, or stayed an engineer, or gone to coding, something like that, or business. 100%, I would have done it by now. The fact that I'm doing content for esports and Twitch and all that and YouTube, huge. I'm very thankful for it, but it so could have easily not happened. It so could have easily just not been a thing. And for the reality of people like Cody here, and not just Cody, if Jmook didn't have FlyQuest, I think he'd be in the same position where it's so difficult to stay at this level. You got to have a little bit of insanity. Melee is quite literally one of the hardest games in the entire world. And the prize pools are often bupkis, right? Save for when Summit was around and now Summit's not around. Thankfully, there's always some other people in the scene that do things, We have like the Ludwigs of the world who are able to put on high skill, high money events. But those aren't frequent, Those are once a year, maybe twice at most, right? And it's disheartening to see this. Like someone this talented, one of the most talented video game players, I will say, on the face of the planet currently, is basically giving us a 2 weeks notice, But it's a 6-month notice. And I get it. And you know what? I fully support Cody in this decision. 100%. This man playing the hardest style, the most insane, like technically difficult character in the way he does, got onto Panda. Panda, one of the orgs with the biggest potential in the world, completely dissolved for reasons he had nothing to do with at all. Soon after, picked up by CLG, who had been a staple in the scene for like years. Like how many years? They had SFAT on CLG for so long. Then they get Cody. And I think Cody was on CLG like less than, 6 months? No, not even. He got on CLG this Genesis. And then that dropped in, it was 2 months. 2 months! 2 months! Could you imagine? Imagine signing a 2-year or a 2-year lease to like an apartment or a house, and you walk in, and then 2 months later, the landlord comes and says, "Yeah, you get the fuck out." You know, everything we told you, the security, this roof you had, the warmth, the fridge running, the fireplace. Yeah, you gotta get out. But I signed it. Yeah, I know, but you gotta leave. But yeah, it was a landlord selling the house in this case. I mean, it's just catastrophically bad luck. To think, too, I was on Team Curse Esports in 2014. That's when I first got picked up. If Team Curse never merged with Liquid, I don't know where I'd be. Remember, do you guys remember? I don't know if there's any old school heads in here. Team Curse contract, Hbox, we're signing you. We can't pay you a salary, but we'll cover your flights, and you got to stream for 40 hours a month on Azubu. Hey, man, back then you took what you can get, right? So I streamed on Abubu a few times. Azubu, yeah, it was... Back then, there was a bunch of just tiny little Twitch platforms, streaming platforms. And then, just by chance, in the same way people have strokes of bad luck and their team dissolve, Curse got merged with Liquid. I've been with that org 8 years now. 8 years with Liquid. And 9 years with Steve Arnset. Anyways, to wrap all this up, I'll say this. What is the solution for this? What fixes this issue? We need more money in the scene? Sure, we always do. But how? It's not Liquid, because Liquid's not signing any players for a while. Liquid is not signing any more Smash. I will say, whatever you think I feel for a gift, all the other people who are trying to get a team, trying to make Smash sustainable, gifting them matters like 100 times as much to them. I'll always pop off for it, and I'm thankful for it. But if you ever have like the choice one day to do it, give a prime to the people trying to make it. Give them incentive to keep pushing and keep doing it. Because without Nintendo, the community has to support itself in some ways, especially the people that can. That's why that's the point of Coinbox, right? That's the point of it. Give people... Coinbox says you don't have to stream at all. You don't need any... You don't even have anything. No camera. You don't have to have a social or personality. You can be a guy who the community has never seen ever at all, and no one ever hears from him again. Some random kid from Poland or something flies to NA, has the most cracked Marth in the world, beats everyone and leaves. Who knows? Who knows, right? And he gets paid. He gets paid $1,200 for doing that, and that's it. Cut and dry, clean and simple. In an ideal world, it wouldn't be, 3K Melee, then 3K Ultimate back and forth with some other games put in. My dream world is 5K Melee, 5K Ultimate every week. Both tournaments every week, forever. That's my dream. That's where I'm trying to get to, somehow. That's where I'm trying to get to. That's why I'm trying to build the brand of, Coinbox big enough. You know what I mean? Could you imagine? Can you imagine every single week there's 10K up for grabs between Melee and Ultimate? First place gets $2,000. First place $2,000 every week. If you won every Coinbox for your game, you make 6 figures in a year. That's money. Yeah. Do I constantly, push Coinbox and spam and try to expand it into other games? Do I always try to get as many top players to enter it all the time? Yes. Because the more we grow that, the more comes in. And if you don't believe me, we already pushed a weekly $2,000 coin box for Ultimate into a Melee and Ultimate coin box for 3K every week. We already increased that money given to the scene by 50% already. And that was right when things got bad. For crypto too, yeah, I know. A lot of you guys don't like crypto. I get it. And things have been great for that entire industry too. But even with all that happening, you know what Coinbase did? With all those problems happening, they went up to me during renewals and they said, we want to put more in. Yeah. We actually want to put more money into this. Specifically this. Other things, no. But your thing, we like what this is. You get it now? It's not just me being a fucking guy prancing on camera, always trying to grab attention of people. It's the combined effort of everyone, the casters, last in the background, and the talent themselves that enters. Every top player that enters these tournaments is the reason more money comes in the future. That's how it works. And they wouldn't have put more money into the tournament scene if there wasn't clearly something they're getting out of it and return potential on their end. So how does this relate to Cody? It takes an ocean. It takes an entire scene. It takes an entire community to make these changes happen. I'm happy Cody's been winning Coinbox. I'm happy. I'm happy he's been able to, basically, we've been paying his rent, right? But gladly so. I will gladly pay Cody's rent and Sonic's rent every single month if they're the ones showing up, putting in the time, grinding, and giving everyone a show. Giving a narrative, a storyline. And the last thing I'll say about it, I know I didn't mean to like ramble about like Coinbox I always do, but there's a point to it. There's a rhyme and a reason to all this, and I legitimately think I've known Cody since like a while now, like 2017, a bit earlier, and I remember when he was the up and comer. You know what I mean? There was a time not too long ago where him playing me at Summit for 4th place. Remember this? There was a time not long ago. What team was he on?
And it has a lot of knockbacks, surprisingly.
Where he beat me, Polar Ace, right? Where he beat me so bad.
And he gets the first game. That's.
I took him to Dreamland, right? I think I take game 2, pretty sure. That was a sick fucking rep. What? That was last talk. I thought it was this. Sorry, ego. Sorry, bro. He took me to Stadium and just gave me the business popped off. And then I went to FOD, and he had me shook. I don't know what I was doing. And I'm nodding, and he's nodding too.
He's smiling too. He's feeling himself. He be doing work.
That moment right here, I want you to look at the player cam right here. This was like the happiest I was ever taking an L in my life. You know why? It's because I knew this guy's journey from the past 2 years before this point. Because this was 2019, right? Yeah. For the past 2 years, I knew every struggle or the majority of what he has gone through because he always told me about it. He always told me about it. And it was him and Two saying, always grinding, right? And it was me and Crunch saying, keep the grind going. Keep it up. You'll get it there.
Excellent example of English grammar.
And then the reality sets in. Almost a 4-stock.
Not yet. Okay, this is clutch guy we're talking about.
Yeah. Even all the crouch cancel he's getting is so much good percent every little interaction.
He just drilled
And is that it? Oh my god, 76% in Cody! I'm an EW! Takes it 3-1!
And that was huge for him. That was huge for him. Because that's when he got on the map. Like, this meant so much to him. For me, it would have been like, all right, I get to defend this and go on it. I think I was #1 seed for this tournament, too. Or I was some high seed. But look how important it was to him. It's fucking sucks to see someone with this much passion for the game. Obvious talent. And once again, it's not something that's his fault. It's the system in place that's already faulty to begin with. We've gone from this to this. And that's where we're at. So yeah. Let me know what you think in the YouTube comments below. Everyone say bye, YouTube.